So obviously I don't have the wiring harness completely shut up yet. That's because I don't really want to until I'm done my first startup, so I can actually make sure the way I want them to be. And honestly, this isn't even mounted in the car, so this might be up or way down or left or right. So I might have to extend or shorten a few wires. Probably will at some point, but thinking it's gonna be fine. But I'd rather be safe than sure, right? Then you got the best ignition system, and it will be extremely reliable, and it's not that expensive. Then it's fully sequential. Each cylinder can be tuned itself. Yo, this thing is looking so good. LS coils are on, wired. It's simple. Red goes to power, blue goes to the signal to the ECU, and then the other two wires are grounded to the engine, and it's done. So it's gonna be basically just barely not touching the headers by like half an inch, so I don't melt everything. Everything's tight here, and it's honestly too tight. So these will be about yay, and then I'll put a plate right about half an inch from it, so it can deflect the heat away, and then I will get lower intake air temps, and it'll help me in the long run. Now rotate the engine backwards to tooth number 1. The cam center should be roughly in the middle of the vane. All right, so I'm gonna go into on how the ECU is going to know when to spark the actual coils. And it used to spark itself by the distributor. The rotor would spin around and hit the points and trigger it from that. But now, so this little rotor on the side of my engine, this is a distributor, and it spins as the engine spins, and it'll spark out where it has points to spark the correct cylinder at the right time. But since I don't have distributor anymore, I have to use a cam sensor, and thankfully there's a cam sensor in my distributor. So I'm going to make that work. So I am going to take apart the distributor like I just did. So the cam sensor is in here. So I took off the cap, the rotor, and then beyond it is my sensor. And this is called a half moon sensor, and I'll show you why. So underneath this as well. So this is when it would get signal to spark, because there's 6 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then here is my sensor that is called the half moon. It's literally a half moon. She goes in here, and it can be timed. So I have to go to my directions, and I'm going to time it. And basically I'm going to go to top dead center on the crank, and then I'm going to back it off a couple teeth. So here are my teeth on my crank. So I go to where my sensor is. The way I'm doing this can be done on any engine, because you can put this actual wheel on any crankshaft, and it's honestly not too bad. You literally have to just do the degrees, and then you basically fixture it to it. So now I'm going to count the teeth to the one that has a gap, and down there's a gap. So I'm going to start up here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gaps before the first one. So that is 50 degrees because each gap is 10. So now I'm going to back it off to the first tooth. Then I'm gonna go to the cam again. I got my sensor on the first tooth after the gap. So this is supposed to be halfway when the crank is at top dead center on cylinder 1. So this guy should be halfway just like that. I'm gonna tighten him back up, and then I'm gonna run a test. So this is the original position that this half moon guy was at. It's called a half moon because it's half open. And I'm going to want it like this. So the sensor's right here. So I want it right in the middle. And now I'm going to tighten it down and then test it. So I got my crankshaft at top dead center. As you can see, that line, that arrow is pointed to that notch on the first cylinder. Right there, and then going to over here. It's about halfway through here, which is good because it's spinning this way. So now I'm gonna go to the first tooth on the crank, which is over here, and then I will see if it's also in the same-ish spot on the sensor, because this is what all this is doing, is letting the computer know is at the power stroke and not the exhaust stroke. Exhaust stroke is on the other side, if that makes sense. So this is the signal to actually make the spark. So now I've got her at tooth 1, and over here is the same. So it rotated back into the same spot, so that is what I'm looking for, I believe. So in here, it will give me directions on how to do it. I have to go to tooth number 1 on top dead center. Now I need to rotate the engine a full rotation and then check again, and it must not have voltage now after rotating it. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these pieces of wood out, put my adapter plate on and my starter, and I'm gonna spin the engine over, and I'm gonna log what my actual ECU is seeing through my computer logs here, and I'm gonna make sure that I have all these missing pieces to the puzzle. Here's my ECU, I got it mounted to a table. So what the ECU does is it will signal when it wants the coil to spark. It will go down these yellow wires and they're all labeled A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. And all I need is to F because I have a V6. All right, I'm in diagnostics and high-speed loggers right here. And now I'm going to make a log. So I'm going to hit save and go and crank that engine. Save and go. So I'm back at my composite log and I have to now count from that gap there. So there's a gap here, gap here, gap here. So the beginning of my cam sensor is right here and it's before the missing tooth. So this is counting the missing tooth on my crank sensor, and I want this line to start right at the first tooth. So what I'm going to do is adjust my distributor. Like this would run the car, but I want it to be the most accurate possible. So I want these two green lines in between these two openings in this gap. So I'm going to adjust that right now. So here's my distributor. I'm going to rotate it from here and then clock it to the left. And then I'm gonna try it again. Cool, so I'll do one more log and then compare it to the other one that I just did. Then I just showed you. Another composite log. This is my first log and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teeth before the opening compared to this green entry of the cam. And I'm gonna check my new log. Then here's my new log. I'm gonna line up my mouse with that. And as you can see, there is 3, so I can still go more. Do one more log. Then you need to run a positive wire. So I'm gonna run a positive wire. I think normally people don't go this far to do this, but I think this is gonna help me for high RPM syncing. And honestly, every little bit helps. The more accurate you can get everything, the better. So I am 1 tooth off. So I technically wanna go to this guy right here. So the last log was 3, and now we're down to 1. I can move it over a little bit. I don't think I have any more adjustment here on my cam. So what I can do is loosen this off and just adjust it by hand. I think I'll try that and see what happens. Gonna do one more log. I probably have to do a couple more. So I believe if I turn this clockwise, it'll help me. I'll see real quick. So I got a whole bunch of lost sync errors because I went too far. So what I'm gonna do is back it off a bit again. Before I test my coils, I'm gonna actually test my injectors in my intake real quick. So I'm just going to put a screwdriver against my injector and then put the screwdriver to my head like so I can listen. And I'm going to put the computer into test mode. So I'm just gonna hit start. I have it on injector A. Injector A should be cylinder 1. So there's cylinder 1. And I'll just do it. So everything here is looking absolutely mint and there's no loss of sync here. When I was cranking it, I accidentally let go of the start button. Well, my start button meaning crossing the frickin' things, and it gave a little sync error, but that's fine. I think I'm good to go for first startups. LS1 coils are in. So now I'm gonna test the spark. I've never done that before. I'm gonna test it through the program and see how that goes. 2's way in there. I'll just go back and forth on the engine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way back. I'm just gonna do that throughout all of them. Then I'm gonna do the coils. The injector testing went absolutely seamless. So A, B, C, D, E, F was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They all were in the exact same spot, so I wired them correctly. That is stellar. Now it's time to see if I wired the LS1 coils correctly and if I have the sequential setup done correctly on my computer. I've never done this before and I've put a lot of time into this, and I don't think this has ever been done on this motor ever. So that's super exciting, and it's going to be much better as long as I can get to work. Let's try it. I'm gonna test the first one. So the first hole, spark plug in it, and I've got it grounded. So what I'm gonna do is hit test. I'm going to test coil A, hit start, and then it should spark here. I'm gonna try it in sequence. And I'm gonna hit go. So it should go through all of them if I go to add. The car's never ran as good as it's going to run now. I'll tell you that for free. All right, so I changed some settings in the computer, did some testing. The whole wiring seems right. I haven't changed any of that. I did some adjusting on the computer. So I changed it from low. I'll tell you about the changes in a sec. I'll see if it actually helped. I'm kind of scared because it says 99% are for high rising and basically like 91% is for low, like in builds, and I just changed it to the other and it says danger, could melt. So I'm a little freaked out here. Oh my god. Let's see. I ordered these on Amazon, got them in, wired them in, and they didn't work. So literally I have to cut the freaking cords off that I all wired in and then start from scratch because these things literally are useless. So I tested these coils and they actually didn't end up working. Thought my wiring was bad, thought that I got the wiring diagrams wrong, this and that. I was checking my ECU if my ECU was bad. So I went to my Chevy truck, the white lifted wide body fiberglass fender one, stole a coil off of it, tried it onto my engine, and it worked immediately. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to a scrapyard and get LS coils off of the stock truck because that is the thing to do. I hate you, Adam. Thanks for your advice. I'm gonna go to the scrapyard, get some stuff from there, and get this thing completely wired. And yes, what I showed you for the LS1 wiring is correct. It's just these coils. Do not buy them. Do not buy anything that's aftermarket, only OEM parts. I learned that the hard way right now. The Amazon stuff is crap. I'm literally gonna return this. And honestly, you know how I made all these coil wires from scratch? This is part of them. So I don't know if they're gonna let me return them. This sucks. Oh my god, so what I just did was literally wired in all of these coils for the LS1 and my new engine that I've got here, and none of these red ones I got off Amazon worked. Not one of them. And I was stumped for 24 hours. Alright, me and Zeddy Spaghetti, my dog, are gonna go to a Wreckers and get some LS coils and some Toyota TC trannies and Camry trannies. Found this sick lookup so I can find transmissions super easy. So for my transmission swap, I am going to have all the transmissions I need. I think I will have everything I possibly need. It's really nice to get away from the wiring because it's just like I've been almost 3 weeks straight wiring, except for a little bit of working here and there, but it's been straight. 3 wiring harness, craziness. All right, let's get some LS coils and trannies. Woo, 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 woo. I've never actually done a pick and save before, but I'm at one. And as you can see, I'm passing some smart cars, some PT Cruisers. So now I'm looking for a Chevy truck so I can get LS coils off of it. So keep an eye out. Look at Dakota. Oh, does that ever bring memories back? Oh, on this truck, these coils are literally just chilling here. So I'm probably gonna grab both of those. Looks like only one coil's missing. So that's easy. I don't even have to get my tools out. Okay, and then there's this absolute heap Chevy truck as well. Looks like a 5.3 in here. And I'm gonna steal all the stuff from in here. So the coils are down there on top of the valve cover. I'm gonna have to snag them off. You can see them easily right there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go, there's one side. Random guy let me use his 10 mil so I can actually get this thing off. I just freaking dropped it. Oh, okay, thankfully it hit the ground. Look at that, and she's free. All right, I got 3 set. Here's a nice set right here. I just pulled this off. A truck way down in there. They don't even look like trucks. They're all torn apart. But anyways, got almost a full set here and then a full set. So I got 3 full sets. 1 for Red Ted, 2 for the Suicide MX3. Ready to go. Oh my god, buttery smooth. This one has a weight on the bottom too. Oh damn, so does that one. That is awesome, awesome. These are Camry trannies. So these are apparently the same as the TC, but they actually have different 5th gear. But other than that, it's the exact same. So these are the LS coils. These are original. And what I need to do is I need to cut somewhere because I only need 3 for each side of the engine. And this one has 4. So I'm probably gonna cut it right here real quick and then clean all this stuff up. They're covered in oil and whatnot. I'm gonna Varsol tank them, get right back to it. Wire them in and everything. I think I'm even gonna use, this wiring seems all really good. So I think I'm just gonna run it from here, pin out which goes where, and then send it. All right, what a long day, I'm back. So I've got the coils. I've got to figure out the wiring so I can rewire it. I'm gonna figure out what each wire actually does. They came like this on the truck, so I just cut one off because there was 4, now there's 3, and then I just have to figure out what's going on here and send it. And here we are again. So I gotta rewire all this all over again. Gonna cut all this out, tap into my new stuff, and then hopefully I should be good. I'm really glad I did not put this engine into my car and go to start it and then just have it not start, because I would have honestly gotten mad, because I want to put the engine into my car and have it run. Right, Zeddy? Is that what I want to do? That's what I want to do. This has been a long time coming with these coils. I tried it with the Amazon ones, it didn't work. Now I have some LS ones from the Junkyard. Let's see what happens. I'm back in my program here with my testing, so I can go into test mode. Here I am in my test mode. I'm enabling it. I'm going to send spark to injector B, which this would be A, this would be B. So here we go. Everything's wired in. Let's see if it actually works here. We'll do this live, no cut. Oil testing A. Go to B, and then 1. Let's see what happens. We turn the dwell down to 3. Oh, it worked. Look at that. Oh yeah. It works. It was a freaking coils. What a pile of crap. Solid spark right off the get-go. It's like purple. Very cool. Oh, I hate these ones.